Denen dajen saje dajen yendem dendon yazin duvengun jara jalan chenyen yente dalim enzen jambe yanan Marabazana de 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 Zedin Chara Wizardji Balim Demon Barazan Kodon Denje Jolon Dumpai London Bombin Awa Sondu Jingori Najimori Jantan Majiba Polo Jinja Jinja Vision Jindu Jima Mebala Guera Bajimen Manesha Jinja Viju Seronendo Yendu Jinja Zimbaran Zenduzo Mangisha Samse Mengungisar Zimen Rajen Zimbeze Zidumbar Vendu Gumigin Zinjum Tudinama Guneju Renji Denzo Jekon Jabe Duan de Nongar Vejabe Rindale Yenzrishon Jindu Rembe Mendum Bazaren Jevin Anduran Jelen Jindu Zinjubejen Jinjambarve Pemanyon Dale Yenzrishon Kumbulurian Devadan Tomenyan Cholan Jinda Yujan Bozo Zanin Jinjonan Jinda Ejon Gori Durgarin Jinin Bibula in Dimbajan Govishazan Doni Vidas Vivian Java Punchin Ramjam Jinda Ejon Ribam Jinale Pumbilon Le Pubitan Jigon Mujin Zan Wanjer Megam Jambi Anjinda Ejon Jinin Bamendje Shizal Punjaran Jatuji Jibijin Jikala Mendanawa Olden Lame Jaje Daejon Yudu Sanje Nanyamaya Kadin Sanje Gunela Bigun Zare Lame Jala Zwade Lazondoye Lamnan Shelaju Ondo Jidungi Jidena Dejula Marjura Mazada Dede Jidinjamebe Simbra Deva Tadan Dejeje Namaya Damba Laike Namudan Jige Nubanda Dame Genanda Nuwan Jidanam Jizamba Kamje Gedo Susuran Tejunji Manjinan Gita Danyam Besanjan Tanji Namru Tenjiwa Vanameva Yanda Barzubi Sanje Jimbuhan Burchela Chine Jambu Shah Dechedu Kibachin Bishu Yaze Janjisimba Shiva Lenzebi Junju Deni Tsushin Sene Nyamsulawa Jugu Nyamdu Sambashan Bichudu Juladan Chile Sensao. So at the beginning, that always we are trying to have a right intention to listening or doing practice whatsoever. It's important to have a right intention. So in order to have a right intention, how we should put the purpose of listening this teaching is in this way, starting from the one's own dearest one, and then from there looking each and every sentient being same as one's dearest, and then in order to fulfill their wishes, that the best or the ultimate is to lead them to complete enlightenment. So therefore, in order to lead them to enlightenment, that our Guna listening this Mahayana teachings, which is composed by Shantideva during the 7th century. And then through that, whatsoever I understood the teaching, that I was going to apply in my day-to-day life. With that kind of intention, listening this teaching is always kind of like required in order to our own this listening, teaching actions, in order to become a part of Mahayana, which means the cause to enlightenment. And without this intention, but listening teachings and engaging into positive actions, it is still good, but the really kind of like the potential that which we can achieve by engaging into same actions is kind of like without having this intention, we're going to miss those opportunities. So therefore, in generally, although it is good positive actions that just listening and contemplating on these teachings, but even much better if we added those intentions or the purpose to lead one and others, each and every sentient beings, with having that kind of intentions. It has a so great potential that it can transform all this general positive actions into the cause of enlightenment or into the path of Mahayanas. So therefore, please listen with that kind of intention or the purpose. And then the teaching itself is this about this Bodhicharyavatara. The Bodhicharyavatara has 10 chapters. Those 10 chapters can summarize or conclude within 4 categories. Those are the 4 categories. Those 4 categories are the main theme of this Bodhicharyavatara, which are that, the persons who are not being able to generate bodhicitta, yet to them how to generate this bodhicitta is the one. And then after you generate this bodhicitta, and in order to maintain this bodhicitta within oneself, that how one can done, and that's the another one, second category. And then the third category is to, and not just maintaining that, and also that how one can improve or enhance that bodhicitta which we have already within our mind, that the way to enhance or the way to improve, and that's the third category. And then the fourth category is just dedicating the merit, whatsoever the accumulate merit by this engaging into this actions, kind of like trying to generate and maintain and increase or improve or enhance, and dedicating. Within these 4 main themes, that whole Bodhicharyavatara's theme is contains within these 4 categories. And among these 4 categories that we are here in this first categories, that we are learning, and that how that one can generate bodhicitta within oneself within these 3 chapters, first, second, and third chapters. So the first chapter itself, the main theme is to introduce the potential of bodhicittas, that having bodhicitta within oneself, one really we could achieve by having that. And then all talks about the benefit or the potential of bodhicitta. And then after you understood this potential or the benefit, and then if you want to habit that within oneself, then what we need to do, and in those second and third chapters, introducing that in order to have that, one should prepare in this way. And what should, how one can prepare to have it, that bodhisattva within oneself. Then this chapter second, and chapter third. The chapter second and third, the title of the chapter second, they named that when, they named as a confession. But the theme, it's not only the compassion. Theme is also introducing how to accumulate merit as well. So in order to generate this bodhisattva within oneself, one should prepare in this way. So make sure that you have enough merit and you have confessed all the negativities whatsoever you committed so far. That is important to preparations. If you don't do it, then might be that, being able to generate that such a awakened mind, a kind mind, altruism, it's a very challenge. And if we don't have enough merit and if we don't confess our negativities, if that all our habitual tendencies and negativities remains within oneself, with that together and trying to having that awakened mind, it will gonna give us very big challenge, harsh. Therefore, Shantideva is recommending or introducing us. So in order you to have bodhisattva within yourself without obscurations, without distractions, without disturbance, then you should remove all those opposite of those, that opposite which is really obscuring or the disturbing within oneself to have that kind of awakened mind. Then introducing those offering actions, that in order to accumulate merit, then we can engage into offering. Then within offering that there he is introducing, there are so many various methods that you can engage into offering actions. And then after that, he is also recommending that accumulating merit, the way of accumulating merit is not only engaging into offering actions, but also you can engage into prostrations actions too. Through that way, you can still accumulate merit. And then further, then he is again recommending, and not only offering and prostrations, but also you can engage yourself into the taking under refuge under triple gems. That itself is also kind of like a considering as a accumulated merit. And also that, as I told you last sessions, that the taking refuge under triple gems is actually that persons who are one, if I tell you the one reason why we needed that, and specifically here, in order to have a awakened mind, bodhisattva, why we need to rely on triple gem. Because triple gem is the who introducing this enlightenment. Triple gem are the who that introducing these liberations. But other than triple gem, within this our world, there are many kind of like a object of refuge, but that talking about this enlightenment and liberations is only the triple gems. They are, so that one reason also could let us understand that relying on triple gem and taking refuge under triple gem, that in order to have this awakened mind and how it is important. Rather than triple gem, there will be no any refuge object that can guide you to idea about enlightenment, even enlightenment, liberation, even liberations. Enlightenment is far.
So therefore, but however, that's mainly Shantideva here, what is recommending is taking refuge under triple gem. By that actions, also you can accumulate merit. Because you need a lot of merit in order to have that awakened mind within yourself. And then Shantideva further recommending not only the accumulating merit, but you also need to confess your negative actions whatsoever you committed so far. Otherwise, as long as they remain those negative actions and those negative habitual tendencies within oneself, at the same time, if we try to raise those altruism, that awakened mind, that we can raise at the moment, one moment, but later that these habitual tendencies and negative, negative actions power will gonna destroy them, and then eventually that these are the two things are kind of like a contradicting to stay within one mind. Either it's say this habitual standing in our mind or this awakened mind, and staying together it's a little hard because this two is kind of like a contradicting the sense itself is a little contradicting. So therefore, and Shantideva also recommending after introducing how to accumulate merit, and also he is introducing how one can confess one's own negative. Then here he's explaining how one can do it, how one can confess one's own misdeed or the negative karma whatsoever we've done so far. And in order to confess that, then this confess has an introduction starting from this stanza number 27. The stanza number 27, this first stanza number 27, it's he's kind of like introducing somebody who wants to confess their negative actions and in front of whom they need to confess. This stanza is introducing to whom you need to confess to your negativity. And then he's saying this, to whom to confess your negative karmas are, or the is, to perfect Buddhas and to Bodhisattvas in all directions where they may reside. And to them who are to whom we need to confess is to them who are the sovereigns of great mercy, and to them you need to confess. I pressed my palm together, praying thus. That's what introducing the object to front of whom you need to confess. So these are not so really difficult to understand. These are easy to understand. And then from here, stanza number 28, then actual introducing how to confess. Now, actual front of that object, then you need to confess. And in order to confess, and Shantideva also introducing all those four power, as Shakyamuni Buddha taught in Sutra, that four dharmas, in the four Sutra of four dharmas, that how Shakyamuni Buddha taught. And similar like that, Shantideva also teaching this actual confess, then you may need to fulfill all those four steps. And then among these four steps, from this stanza number 28, it begins with the first power or the first dharma, which is we call normally power of remorse. power of remorse. Then what is that? Power of remorse, power of regret, is it?
Yeah.
Power of remorse. Yeah. So from here, Shantideva is introducing the power of remorse. In order to confess your own negativity, you need to fulfill all those 4 steps. And then he's introducing one by one steps, all those 4 steps, one by one, and begin with the power of remorse. Then now, in order to fulfill that first step, which is power of remorse, that is introducing kind of like this, in this way. In this and all my other lives. In this and all my other lives, you need to think when you are fulfilling the power of remorse. In order to filter that power of remorse, and that's how you need to think. That's how you need to do that. In this and all my other lives, while turning in the round without beginnings, blindly I have brought forth evil and incite others to commit the same. This is exactly how Shakyamuni Buddha taught in this, which we are reciting here, this Confession Sutras. Among that, Shakyamuni Buddha recommended 35 Buddhas. You may put 35 Buddhas as an object for you to confess. And here Shantideva, not only 35 Buddhas, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas he is recommending, right? So that doesn't matter. 35 Buddha also can represent all of those Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as well. But however, that here, what to confess? That blindly I have brought forth evil is the one. And incite others to commit the same. This is the second. And then also deceived and overmasters by my ignorance. I have taken pleasure in such a sin, which is actually talking about rejoicing, that you didn't did it, you didn't incite others to commit it, but just watching somebody's doing it, then you're taking them as a pleasure. Or he did it such a nice job, kind of like a rejoicing. This is actually rejoicing. How they translate it is that I have taken pleasures in such a sin. But actually, I think which way is better? Same, right? Rejoicing. Either I say rejoicing or I have taken pleasure in such a sin.
The same.
The same meaning?
Yeah.
Good. So now here Shantideva is recommending that what you need to confess to your negativity are either I did it myself or I incite some others to do for it, or you, that you've taken pleasures in such a sin. You're rejoicing somebody is doing those nonsense things. Any of those 3 ways that we can accumulate negative actions. In the same way, positive actions also like that. We can also accumulate positive actions in this 3 way too. That whatever the way that we can accumulate negative, same way also if we oversight, then that also we can use for the accumulate merit too. But however, here talking about confess. So now Shantideva is introducing when you fulfilling the first step, which is power of remorse, and you need to fulfill that power of remorse in this way, that you think all those things, that whatever I committed or whatever I incite to to commit, or whatever I taken pleasure in such a sin. And seeing now the blame of it, O great protector, I confess it honestly. Honestly? Yeah. So that kind of sense, when you raise that kind of sense within yourself, that's called power of remorse. And so on, so forth. Also, that whatever I have done against the triple J, which is really kind of like a against triple J is, in short, we can, if we wanna summarize what does really it means against the triple J is the harming others. Within that we can summarize harming others. That we can summarize within that whatever I have done against the triple J, against my parent, here now. Shantideva also recommending that against one's own parent is also the negative karma that you need to, you need to face all those consequences. So therefore, against my parents and also against teachers, and then and the rest through force of my defilement, right? Because we do this because of all those defilements, such as like sometimes we do these things out of anger, sometimes we do these things out of jealousy, sometimes we do these things out of pride, and sometimes we do this out of ignorance, and sometimes we do this out of desire, and out of kind of like a greedy, out of also the specific out of lust, isn't it? Lust. It's called lust.
Jealousy.
No, lust.
Delusion.
Not delusion. Lust. L-U-S-T. Was it that? L-U-S-T.
Lost.
L-U-S-T. Lost.
Oh, lust.
Lust.
Desire.
Out of lust. But that lust is specific desire, isn't it? It doesn't go with anything.
It's a sexual desire.
It's the sexual desire, yes. Sometimes we may oppose our parent. Sometimes we may oppose our teacher. Sometimes we may against or oppose triple J out of our what? Lust. When we say greedy, and it becomes very rough, general. Now when we go to the detail, then we can peel out. We make an against our parent, teacher, triple J out of those emotions. And those emotions are here, Shantideva summarize, defilement. He make it within one word, defilement. Actually, if we dig that meaning, defilement, then all of those are coming out, like such as a greedy, lust, and anger, and jealousy, pride. So these are the things that you need to confess, that he's recommending. That yes, it is not something that we don't make it, these mistakes. Yeah, people make those mistakes. The mistakes can be made, but we need to understand that here Shantideva recommending, after you committed any of these actions, and these are the actions, consider as a negative actions. And if you didn't confess it, those habitual tendency will gonna remain within yourself. If those habitual tendency if those negativity remains with yourself, then at the same time within your mind, having this awakened mind, Bodhicitta, it's challenge. Because this two sense is exactly contradictory. It cannot stand within one mind. So therefore he is saying this. Whatever I have done against the triple J, against the parents, teachers, and the rest. Rest can be any beings. And through force of my defilement, but that has to be through force of your defilement. Defilement, okay? If that is not through force of your defilement, then that's not the case. Because it is not negative action at all. If those actions is through force of one's own defilement, then this is negative actions. Then that kind of actions, you better to confess. If your action is not out of this defilement, then that's not big deal. That's not a big problem. Defilements in my body, speech, and mind. And all the evil I, a sinner, have committed through this body, speech, and mind. And all the wicked deeds that cling to me, which is cling to me, cling to oneself. That as long as I told you, once you've done it, those action is cling to you. Cling, you understand? Cling, right? This is just like a stuck with you. Cling to you. Cling to me. The frightful things that I contrive, I openly declare to you. The teacher of the world. Actually, this is teacher of the world recommended. Here, they're saying many different ways, but however, it's talking about Triple J, the teacher of the world. I openly declare to you, the teacher of the world. So now, that's how you, until here, this is stanza number 31, and Shantideva is actually exactly giving instructions how to fulfill the first steps, the power of remorse. Power of remorse, you need to have all this sense. What you made mistakes, and you're willing to confess that, willing to declare that in front of the Triple J. That's what really you needed. And then now from here, stanza number 2. Stanza number 2 from here, it is still related with the power of remorse, but more or less it is talking about the that urgency. After you understand what to confess, then you may need to do immediately. You just better not to postpone, better not to delay. That's how he's recommending. That's also within a power of remorse too, actually. So that's the can help us to fill this power of remorse completely. So within this 28 to 31 is actually introducing what are the negative actions, what are the actions that's considered as a negative, and what are those actions you may need to confess. And these are the actions that you need to confess if you committed so far. And then when to confess, then from here, and it is giving urgency, kind of like immediately after you understood this, then you may better to do immediately rather than delay, rather than postponing. Why? It's because, reason why we need to urgent ourselves is because it may be that my death will come to me before my evil has been cleansed. Because death is very uncertain. How then can I be freed from it? I pray you quickly grant me your protections. Kind of like he's Shantideva is encouraging to people to have that kind of sense, immediately sense. And here, the reason why Shantideva was saying is because of the death. It's very uncertain. We never know that which is come first. Your confess come first or your death come first. So therefore, it's better to make sure that before you die, you confess your negativity. Otherwise, it's getting late, delayed. That's the one way of his letting us to have a sense of urgency by understanding the nature of death, uncertainty of death. And further, also again, continuing same same kind of like a sense that he wants us to have. Through, we cannot trust the wanton lord of death. Absolutely. The thirst, complete or still to do, he will not wait. Yes, that's definitely, he will not want to wait. If he is waiting, then there will be no people to unsuccessful people in this world. We have so many unsuccessful people because of he is not waiting. If he is waiting, then there will be no people, no person who is unsuccessful. That proves by that, how to say, it proves that he will not gonna wait by looking those unsuccessful person. It's very strange, isn't it? That he will not wait. Even in a health or sickness, even you are in a very good health, doesn't matter. If he don't want to wait, he will not gonna wait. Even you are healthier, he will gonna take you out. And the sick is, then more conditions to take him out. Let him take out, right? Therefore, none of us can trust our fleeting, momentary lives. Yes, our life is very fleeting and momentary. So therefore, such a understanding this natural, then what he really want to have a sense within oneself is, I have to confess. That's the point of his recommending this all. And also another method of another method to have a sense of urgency that he is providing is that, and we must, here they translated we. I think we here we don't need this we, and must pass away forsaking all. I think that's better. I think. What do you think?
We.
And we must pass away forsaking all. Is that better? Actually, in Tibetan, there's a no we. There's a no we. In Tibetan, just saying, must pass away forsaking all. That's all. Must pass away forsaking all. But I devoid. But I devoid of understanding that. Which means actually here, must pass away forsaking all. Now here I told you he's trying to give another method to have us a sense of urgency, right? And this is the key point here. He is trying to letting us have a sense of that. This must pass away, forsaking all, which means forsaking, right? Forsaking,
Forsake.
huh?
Forsake.
Forsake, forsaking. How they translate here? Forsaking.
Forsake. For like you said, forsake of the being. The same thing. Forsake of the being.
No, that's not this meaning. No, that's not this meaning. This meaning is kind of like you need to abandon. You need to change. You cannot forever have those things with you, whatever you have right now. You need to abandon sooner or later. You need to leave behind. This is what it is saying, forsaking.
That's what it means.
You understand now? It's not the forsake of the sentient beings. No, not that. Forsaking. Forsake.
To give up.
To give up. Yeah, to give up. Honey, you understand? Forsake.
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 Forsake. Sake of the sentient beings actually same spelling? No?
That's 3 words. This is only 1 word. For the sake.
For the
For the
sake.
sake.
For the
For the
sake.
sake and forsake. 2
Fors-
different things.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is for the shaker.
For the
He's
sake.
saying for the
For the
sake.
shaker. But for the sake different. For the shaker. Like here they say, for the sake of friend and food and life.
Ah.
And here in the stanza
34.
34, yeah, they say, have for the sake of friend. That is the thing. This meaning of for the sake of being, whatever there. After the word forsake up, you can put the noun
Mhm.
there and the meaning is right there.
Okay. Anyway, so here, must pass away, forsaking all. Forsaking all. This is the main point, Shandideva here, providing us to have a sense of urgency. That what does it really mean? That it includes all, it's very general word. What does it mean? What does it include? Then it includes all our position, fame, wealth, and pleasure at the moment. And then the friends, relative, whatsoever you have. All of these things must pass away, or the forsaking all. But I, devoid of understanding, this we do this. Many people, they're devoid of understanding that. They're still hoping, kind of like that. Also, especially those powerful men, kings, and during the 17, 18, 15, 16 centuries, those empire, they want to have a nectar or whatsoever to live forever. They're seeking, what do you call it? Immortality. Yeah, they're looking that. They don't want to accept this vote. They don't like this must pass away, forsaking all. Therefore, they wanna change this vote. The fact they cannot. So now contemplate on those natural, and then have a sense of urgency within yourself. That's how you should, confess. When you should confess your negativities. And this is he's providing us different method than looking at the death. Death is the one method he's showing. to understand your life is so uncertain. So therefore, you never know your death comes first or your confess comes first. So therefore, you should better to make sure that you confessed your negativity before death comes to you. That's the one method he is providing us to have a sense of urgency. And then now here, another method that he is letting us to think this must pass away, forsaking all. One method is to just contemplating on life, death, and then now contemplating on our belongings and whatsoever we have. And through understanding that, change our understanding about the natural things. So far, I devoid of understanding, and then have a forsake of friends and few alike. Therefore, when we have this devoid of understanding, then having that understanding, then what we really do is forsake of friend and forsake of friend and foe alike, provoked and brought about so many wrongs, isn't it? We are doing it. So this is exactly that Shantideva wants us to understand. And that's one Shantideva wants us to remove that devoid of understanding about natural phenomena. And then understand the natural phenomena, it's natural. Then better to have that sense of not delaying or the postponing to confess your negativities, rather than keep continuing making all those negative actions, rather than keep continue following on those wrong actions. And then here again, Shantideva was saying, these are not so difficult to understand. So, but all my feuds will cease to be. Yes, sooner or later. And all of my friends will cease to be. And I myself will gonna cease to be. And likewise, everything will cease to be. Everything will cease to be. All that I possessed and use is like the fleeting vision of a dream. That's actually what we are doing. It actually, he's saying that actually, it is just like a dream. It fades into realm of memory. Exactly, absolutely. Then, when you pass away, then we talk about you. There's a person called Dam, and he is that, he's very nice, he's like that. Then only that memory, realms of the memory is left behind. And except then that memory, everything is gone, faded. Just like a dream.
They cry.
During the dream time,
Better cry now.
During the dream time, we have all these strong emotions. If you feel this is exactly real, you cannot understand this is dream. But once you wake up, it's all fate. Nowhere, just fate. Just like that. Understand those, natural, those phenomena, and rather than chasing after those, you should understand those natural and just kind of like slow down yourself rather than running after. And fading will be seen no more. That whatever fading, will be seen no more. That absolutely, that all the past now we cannot change, we cannot take back, unless you are Superman. They make that fiction, right? They make that fiction comic story that Superman can reverse his past. But however, will be seen no more, that's for sure. And even in the brief course of this present life, even so many friends and fews have passed away while you are alive, because of whom the evil I have done still lies. It is lie? Still lies. Oh, lies. Lay down. Still lies unbearable before me, or remain within self. Do you understand what he means here? It's not difficult, right? You understand what he's trying to say? Let me read again here. And even in the brief course of this present life, so many friends and fews have passed away. But I did so many things because of whom the evil I have done. Those evil what I done is still lie unbearable before me, front of me, or remained within myself. Which means that for whom I did it, they are no longer with me. But for whom what I did it, all those deeds is still remain with me. Even though they passed away, but for them, what I did is lie before me, front of me. Understand those things, then rather than doing these things, just a little bit slow down yourself. The thought come never to mind that I too am a brief and passing thing. And so, through hatred, lust, and ignorance, I have committed many sins. Never halting night or day, my life drains constantly away. And from no other source does increase come. How can there not be death for such as me? So this all contemplate or reflecting on those meanings. And these are not so difficult to understand, but we need to reflect, but we need to imagine, but we need to think about those meanings, and then raise the sense of kind of like not willing to chase after those. Don't put all your effort for those purposes. And then understand the whatsoever negativities you may done for your friends, family, or the few whatsoever, you must confess. So there I will be prostrate upon my bed, and all prostrate. It is prostrate?
Yeah.
Prostrate means
Prostrate.
just lay down.
Prostrate.
Prostrate.
Prostration.
One is talking about prostration. We are not talking about prostration.
Prostration is a thing that you do. But
Uh-huh.
prostrating, when you're prostrate, it means you're horizontal.
Just lay down. Okay. Yeah. There I will be prostrate upon my bed, and all around my family and friends. But I alone shall be the one to feel the cutting of the thread of my life. That's exactly that when our family member die, we just be there with him or with her, and then maybe cry, and then maybe say some prayers, and then nothing much we can do, just looking, and then the feeling of the cutting of the thread of life, that person alone has to feel. Nobody will share that. And when what is this? When the herald, what is that?
Error.
Herald, what does it mean, herald? I cannot find this in dictionary. I think it's
Herald means to yell out loud, to call. So when the heralds of the Delhi king have gripped me, means like, so the Delhi king is calling for you and is holding on to you.
Mhm. Shinji Ponya Sundara.
Calling.
The calling or let you know first.
Mhm.
Yeah. No.
Oh, you know,
Let you know first.
when when you're calling for puja, you know the horn,
Horns.
and the horn is heralding time for puja.
Okay. And when the herald of the deadly king have gripped me, what help to me will be my friends and king. It's question mark, which means he's indirectly wanna say no. Here he's kind of like a resting question mark to us. Think about yourself. Can they help you? Then you answer yourself. For then, life's virtue is my one defense. Yes, at that moment, only the virtuous actions or the good deeds, whatever you have, that will be your defense. That will be your protections. But on the other hand, it is my defense, but and this, then alas. It's alas. This alas, in English way of saying this alas is kind of like in our word we say kema are same, right? Kema. Kema is the menga sick actually. That when people get very sad and hopelessness, and they say this kema. So with the so strong mercy, kema. And when there's hopeless, nothing to do, and then we use this kema. And here this English alas.
Yeah.
Alas.
Yeah.
Normally use that. Oh, so those words has a very strong sense. We better to use that if you have
Sometimes Allah or God. Oh my
not God.
Alas, kema, it means there's some sense of regret. It's like, oh, it's too bad.
Yeah, there's no hope, right? But no hope.
Finish. It's like, oh, regret, remorse.
I shouldn't be.
Something I should have done, I didn't do.
Yeah, just like that. So therefore it is saying, And this means this which can defend me, the virtuous action. And alas, is what I shirked away. I shrugged away.
This is shrugging.
What does it mean?
It means like, oh, you know.
You didn't did it.
Yeah, you didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
Regret.
That's the only defense you have, but you didn't prepare it. That's what it means. I shrugged away.
Well, when you say you shrugged away, it means like at the time that you made this regret, even though you know it's your decision. Okay, so right now I'm shrugging away. I don't care. But later, alas, I regret. I shrugged it away. I shouldn't have shrugged it away, but at the time, I just do this. Oh, I don't care. Well,
But later,
I know I should have cared.
I should have cared. Yeah, that's exactly what it is saying. And this, alas, is what I shrugged away.
Because at the time you say, oh, I don't care.
So here is not really kind of like a he wants us to have a sense of urgency by understanding the uncertainty that and uncertainty is our life, and then also the this kind of like a must pass away forsaking all, and other than that understand all those natural procedures of our life, such as like when we die and what happened, all those things. He just want us to reflect. Why I shirked away? Because the consequences of those actions, whatever we've done during our life, by ignorance or doesn't matter, which is done out of ignorant or not ignorant, and or that it is out of ignorant, but you are not being able to see that it is ignorant. Regardless, as long as you done those misdeeds, then the consequences of that misdeed, you will gonna face it for sure. So therefore, understand all this and make sure not to shirk away yourself, which means confess before you shirk away. O protectors, I so little heedings that right now many of the people have so little heedings actually, that I oftenly jokingly telling to some of my friends that when we go to the hospital and we feel, oh, now everybody in the world feels like everybody's in the world are sick. Yeah, so many patients in hospital, coming, going, very busy. And then on the other hand, when you go to the kind of like a park or the beach club, then you may feel, oh, now everybody in the world is having fun. And then when you go to the cemetery, it is like that. You will see tons of dead body, and you may feel like, oh, now everybody in the world die. And then when you get to the Dharma centers, then you feel everybody liberated already.
No.
Yes, that's why here, so little heeding. So little heeding. Exactly, here. I don't need to look so far. I can look myself here in this Dhamma center. No rush at all here. Every time we have enough space, enough. When you come to the Dhamma centers and you feel like everybody is liberated already, now no needed Dhamma anymore. That's what here. So little healing. Because of so little healing. Right? Healing or interest, right? Same meaning, right? Healing?
Attention.
Intention.
Attention.
Attention. Yeah, attention. Oh, protectors, I, who have so little healing, hardly guessed at horror such as this. And all for this brief transcend existence. That we're doing all for this transcend existence. I have done so many evil things for this very temporary, for this very transcend existence. The day they take him to the scaffold, where they will tear off these limbs. Okay, now here. Okay, this is the one thing. That so many evil things. I have done so many evil things. Now, this stanza is letting us understand the fearness of the death. Fearness of the death, actually. Many people, when we are healthy and alive, and they don't really feel that. They feel that I can die anytime, no problem. But the fact, it's not like that. When you are healthy, when you are very kind of like everything is going smooth, then you're thinking that is no problem. But the fact, the death is not like that. And especially the persons who doesn't do any those positive actions, then there will be terrible of their death for sure. Yes, 100% sure. There will be terrible death moment. And then here, to understand that, Shantideva is giving this stanza number 43. That this 43 is example, and the 44 is the meaning. That Shantideva is saying, the day they take him to the scaffold, where they will tear off his limbs. A man is changed, transfigured by his fear. His mouth is dry, his eye start from his brow. What does it mean, bro? Yeah, this I don't know. This is how it gives sense to you. But in Tibetan language, that what we are saying really here is that
This.
Brown.
It means your eyes go so big.
so not big, not really big. Okay, big is okay, but so means that when people have a so fear, eyes completely change. All those nerves will gonna pop up, show up, and then just like Just like animals, when we butchers, when we kill those cow and those, how their eyes becomes out of their fear, out of their scary. This is something like it's talking about, right? Scaffold. What does it mean actually, scaffold?
Where you die, the place where you die.
You know, die, and they are taking you there.
Yeah, and they got to kill you there.
You aware it, right? You aware that they will gonna kill you, and then they are taking you to that land, that destinations to kill you there. At that time, that how that man is changed, transfigured by his fear, that such as like his mouth getting dried, and eye start from his brow, and so forth. That we normally we're saying I'm not scared of death, but really death happened to oneself. It is just like that. If you aware, okay, for example, like that, you got a death penalty, just like a death penalty. You got a death penalty. Then at that moment, what feeling going in your mind? And you are walking towards your death destinations. And they are taking you to that destination. Now imagine that. How that moment will be for that person. Just like that, the meaning is here, this stanza number 44. No need to say how stricken I shall be when overcome and sick with deathful fear. I am seized by forms so horrible to see, the frightful servant of the Lord of death. Especially the persons who they are very seen and they really can perceive those all before they die. And we have such a histories, those special like those butchers. Those butchers, they kill animal whole their life, and then when they die, and they die in a very horrible way. For example, like they are asking help to their friends and parents to kind of like scalp away all those cows and yaks. Nonsense. There are no yaks, no cows coming to him. But he is projecting those because of his deed. That kind of vision even comes before he complete death. And that kind of terrible, horrible kind of like a feeling could happen to those persons who always committing this nonsense things. He is always doing. And this is even coming before death actually. After death, yes, no need to say. Because of all your consequences, you need to face that for sure. There's no another scapegoat for it. Now this is the meaning that he's letting us understand. Specifically, this has happened to those, not everybody, not necessarily, not every persons who die. It is not necessary to feel this way. But those persons who are committing all their life those negative actions, then consequences of that, they will gonna definitely feel in this way. This is what Shantideva was introducing. That And also that those great masters are also saying it is very good to watch those sinful person dying. When you watched the sinful person dying, that will become your greatest teacher to you to understand the consequences of your own action. However, Shantideva, what he is trying to introduce here is this. Normally people are saying, oh, I am not fear to die. It is not like that. In fact, it is not like that anyway. If you have enough confidence, do all those wholesome things, then yes, you can say that. But without any of those reasons, saying I'm unfair of death, it is just like a baby boy, like those boys saying that I'm not afraid of teacher or mothers or whatsoever. But they really do. But they really do inside. But they forget when they have all this play-dohs in their hand, and they forget that. It is just like that. When we are healthy, when we are capable, when we are young youth, that we feel, oh, I don't fear to die. I don't get scared to die. It is just like that. If you don't have those reasons, if you don't have those really good reasons to say that I'm not fear to death, unless, understand? If you have those reasons, then yes, you can say that I'm not scared to death. But without having those, still saying I'm not scared to death, it is just like those, as I told you earlier, those kids saying that I'm not afraid of. And then, who can give me safe protections from this horror, from this frightful death? Question mark. Is just kind of like asking us question mark. But the really indirectly is saying no, there's no any safe protection. And then I will search the 4 directions. Yeah, this kind of things. When those sinful people's dying, they're doing these things, all these things. They look, they search the 4 directions, looking towards all directions and seeking help with the panic-stricken eyes. But in those 4 directions, no protection shall I find, and I shall sink into despairing. What is that? Woe. W-O-E.
Whoa.
What is that?
Sadness.
Woe. It just looks like French language, right?
No. English.
Woe.
Whoa. Means
And I shall sink into despairing. Despairing. Woe. No refuge will there be for me at such a time. What should I do? What shall I do? So until here, this stanza number 46, that he's introducing how to fulfill the first step, which is power of remorse. Power of remorse. You need to have all those understand. The mainly power of remorse he introduced in stanza number 28 to 31. That's the main point that he is introducing, the power of remorse. And after that, the standard number 32 to until now, this 46, and he is just telling us that we should have a sense of urgency to confess those negative actions, negative deeds whatsoever we've done. Because of death is uncertain, because of life is uncertain, because of all our belongings must pass away, forsaking all. Because of all those different reasons he's just giving us. Actually, those reasons are not so kind of like hidden. It's not so difficult to understand. This is just we can see. We are experiencing within our life, actually. He just wants us to reflect on it. That's it. So I will stop here today. Then, if you have questions, we can discuss. Lily seems like when I said when sinful person die, they will die in a horrible way. Really? She's not really 100% agree on it. Seems like. It's true. Are you agree? Okay. When I say that, really?
No, I agree. I agree that I don't believe.
I agree.
But yeah, I don't believe.
No,
I'm
no.
not sure.
But you're not sure. Yeah, so you're not agree at all.
Yeah, but I agree with you saying I don't agree.
What? Very tricky, huh? Yeah, yeah.
In the way that if accident we can commit peacefully die.
Accident.
Yeah, in the way
Mhm.
sometimes
Mhm.
we don't know. So if we visit someone in the hospital,
Mhm.
someone they will need to pass away. So we know that person didn't make any good action when they are alive. So on that moment, what is the best way we can do it? What is
At
the
that
best
moment,
way?
what's the best way we can do for that person? That person who is about to die.
Play together. What about you?
Play together.
Play together.
At that moment, what the best you can do? But you said something before.
They didn't make any good action when they are alive.
They didn't make any good actions when they are alive.
Yeah.
Okay, so which means they spend whole their life in doing those negatives. And then now they are dying in front of us. Then what is the best way we can do for them? Yeah. Then only we can pray for them. Pray for that person. That's all we can do. Make it good aspirations. Just like how those gods die. When those gods die, and their friends, rest of the other their friend gods, saying from far away, not coming close, and then making aspiration. Oh, may after he die, he born again in human, and then accumulate those 10 virtuous actions. May he come back again with us. That's all they can make aspirations. But not necessarily that aspirations, that person will gonna experience all how they make aspirations, It also depends on what he did. It's almost like a little hopeless. pray, right? Only pray. That's the best we can do for him. And maybe those persons will not gonna let you pray. Yeah, that happened too.
If that person they request, they confess.
Yeah, actually, yes. That at that moment, more or less, that person really feel regret and really want to confess. But unfortunately, they don't know how to confess their negativity. If they didn't learn all these procedures, this understanding how to confess their negativity. And even though just having a regret is the one power, it doesn't help you to purify all your negativity. Because rest of the other three power is lacking still. Right? At that moment, yes, there are also chances that you may can confess. But for those persons who are spending whole their life in not doing all this nonsense, for sure they don't know this because they don't spend to learn this idea. Even though they have a regret, they don't know how to confess. Even they really want to confess, but they don't know how to confess. So therefore, maybe they confess to their parent, saying, "Father, sorry, mother, sorry, friend, sorry, sorry, sorry." And it doesn't really confess. Yeah, many people does that. Say all their parents, sorry, 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 and then die. Right? But that sorry, sorry, sorry cannot remove your negative karma. It is good. It is good. It is. I'm not saying you don't need that to say sorry. It is good, but it is not good enough to confess to your negative. Because of those 4 steps, you need it. Right? So, we go. We dedicate this. Sanande Tanje Sivani, Tumeni, Jalam Tanje, Shigananje, Walon Chubai, Sivir Jole, Roan Ro, Shu, Jambal Bal, Jigarakimba, Pundu Zambo, Devan Dejende, the dog Puji, Jesus, Gevan Lida, Tanje, Rabo, Devan De, Shio, Sanam Yeshi, so Sanam Yeshi, Legion, Amba, Shu, Sanjay, Kusum, Chilanga, Chini, Gendin Major, Jidara Moa, Drubara Shu, written this English. By this beneficial activity, may I obtain omniscience and having vanquished the harmful enemies, greed, anger, delusion, may I liberate all beings first about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming. By conforming to the knowledge of religious and judiciary, temple down, and in the same way as the Bodhicharyavatara, Bodhicharyavatara, and following their example, I dedicate perfectly all this virtue. By this virtue, may all be perfectly achieve the combination of merit, summon, and wisdom, and may they thereafter obtain two holy bodies which result from these two combinations. By the blessing of the Buddha, Sangha, who obtain the 3 bodies. By the blessing of the immutable truth of the Dharmata, training. By the blessing of the infallible aspirations of the Sangha, Genji, may this prayer of dedication be accomplished just as it is.
Funny.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.